Paperwork. You've got some of the paperwork in front of you. On one side, you have the transportation form. Could I get one of those so I can talk specifically about the talking points? The transportation form is key. Thank you, sir. You are going to see in a little bit the size of some of our crews. We get a school van to go to events down at the stadium or at Pap South or to La Vista City Park for Monarch softball games. That is me and 7 passengers and all the equipment we can cram in. One of these folks will almost always end up driving to bring the rest of the equipment. You say, well, why don't you take a school bus? Because the school bus aisle is too narrow for our big boy equipment. So, long term, it's our goal to get a trailer, and the school district has said that they will put a hitch on one of the vans for us so that, one, we don't have to lift our equipment so much, and 2, then we can be a little more safe and not require students to haul equipment too. So this form is key. I really need you to, if you are willing and feel comfortable, to check all of these boxes. If you say your student can only ride in the van with me, if you only check that top box, that's fine. But what that means is if there are 8 students signed up for a crew who have checked that box, one of them has to get booted because I can't leave the students and the equipment. So once we get to South, I can't stop, drop them off, turn around and come back and get that 8th student. But if you will trust these fine individuals with your student and they understand that responsibility, they understand the responsibility of the equipment and another human life, they will do very well. We go together in tandem, so I would appreciate that. Also, you will help each other and yourselves if you'll let other parents drive your kiddo, because sometimes it's a little late when we get back. And part of the reason that I've asked you all to be here is so that at the end, when we're signed up, or when everybody's lining up to pay for shirts and give me shirt sizes and that kind of stuff, you can all meet each other and figure out who lives close to one another and who can carpool to drop them off and pick them up and that kind of stuff, because we need to network and support each other. We are the largest we've ever been. It's our 11th year under my leadership. It's the 15th year overall from the inception as a club, 5th year as an academy. And we have doubled in size from last year to this year. Good. So it's amazing, and it means a thank you and applause for all of you, because what that means is you're trusting in us, you're trusting in the program, and we can do some of the things that have been long dreamed about from some of the very first kids when I took over and I had 3. And the very first year we ever streamed 8 years ago, and somebody said, I'll bring in my gaming computer and I think we can do this. And then we added commentators and we added graphics, and it's all been student driven. Okay, so if you will do that. On the other side of that form is one that is, and this is students, this is something you'll hear often. Where did I put my phone down? The equipment usage form. We have very expensive toys. Anybody remember? These are XA25s. Anybody know? Price just the camera? $1,800. They were $2,500 new. Our cameras that we use for live streams, the camera, the mic, the monitor, the rig, $4,500 times 5 of them. What we call the MOAC is a nice little $300 and some thousand. So this form says a couple of things. One, it says you understand your kiddo could get hurt. You think, wow, I'm putting them in a class where they're just going to be behind a camera and use a bunch of computers. It's totally safe. They're going to be standing on the sideline during football games. We had someone get hit. We put now, because of that injury, 2 spotters out with whoever is running the sideline wireless camera. They always have one hand on the person, and their job is to take the hit and get the person with the camera who is utterly defenseless out of the way. Basketball, you can get hit. Volleyball, you can get hit with a ball. It's very easy to get focused on your job, and you should be, and you can take a ball to the head. At Pap South, when we're up in what is called the crow's nest, they have a very low-hanging tube. We've had someone commentate the entire second half of, the entire boys game, sitting under an ice pack under his headset for standing up underneath that. So it happens. I stepped on a doorstop and went down in the hallway in May, so yeah. So injuries could happen. I will love your kid almost like you do. And I say almost like you do because I don't have to worry about paying for college and booting them out of the house when it's time for them to go when they're 27 and still living in the basement. But if we are somewhere and something happens, I will go with your child to seek whatever medical care is needed. There is always an AD at an event that we're at, and then they would become the leader of the group. One clause on this says you will assume financial responsibility for something if your kid breaks it, if they are acting in a negligent manner. If Abby starts juggling that $2,500 DSLR and drops it, mom's on the hook. Thanks, Mom. But if Abby is hustling to somewhere and trips through no fault of her own, and it was a reasonable hustle, and lands on the camera, stuff happens, and we fundraise. It is school district policy that our students have an activity card. Yes, they're gonna get in free to the events that they're working. That's what our badges do for us and our uniforms. But we get money back from the athletic and activity department to support some of our needs, and every student in an activity or who is an athlete is expected to buy an activity card. That is something that you will do at check-in on the 7th and 5th and 6th. So you'll stop by, you'll see my husband Terry at the athletic office table and pick up an activity card. Uniforms. Uniforms are required. You must have at least a short sleeve uniform t-shirt and black shorts or pants. What is optional is a long sleeve shirt or a crew neck or hoodie sweatshirt. We're going to offer a quarter zip or a jacket this year. Or you could wear a plain black long sleeve t-shirt under your short sleeve. We try to make this as inexpensive as possible for you. Black shorts, we're running what, $12, $15 at Old Navy. You can get, who got Walmart pants? $15? Walmart black pants? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, and shoes, just so that aren't what you mowed the lawn in for the past 2 years. Waffle. Okay. All right. What not to wear? Blue jeans, unacceptable. You will be writing a paper for me after the live event where you show up in blue jeans. If you were on an athletic team, coach would just bench you. I can't. We need everybody in the crew who signs up to work an event. So you're going to work. You're going to take some guff from the rest of the crew. You're going to have a talking to with me, and you'll be writing a paper about why you thought you were exceptional, or why you couldn't plan ahead and make sure that you had your laundry done. It is not mom or dad's fault, ever. You are wearing the uniform. It is your responsibility. Who's my what not to wear example here? Harv, come on up. You look at this and you say, but they're gray, it's okay. It is not uniform. It is not okay. I'll expect your paper tomorrow. You may not wear short shorts. We have a few more young ladies in the academy this year. I wouldn't allow it when I coached golf, and I won't allow it now. You need to carry some stuff with you. I recommend cargo shorts. They're wonderful. You can carry all sorts of extra batteries and cables and connectors and stuff. No booty shorts. I swear, I will call your mama, and she will have to go to the store and get you some decent shorts and bring them to us. Well, those are black, but they look like you got attacked by a pack of rabid squirrels on the way to the stream. We try to act and look professional, and that does not. And you can have the discussion with me, but my older sister gets to wear them at, good for her. She's not in Media Academy. Gentlemen, go stand next to him. The word uniform means uniformity, everybody alike. We are all equally important during the stream, and we all need to look equally the same. This year, if you have a cold-blooded child, or you are a cold-blooded child, time to start campaigning for a crew sweatshirt, jacket, quarter zip. I'm not going to allow the jacket over, the sweatshirt over when we're indoors. When we're at a volleyball game, a basketball game, that's not going to fly. You need to have uniform shirt on. If we're outside and it's 40 degrees, because that happens at softball and soccer and football, of course you can have a coat on. We have some Carhartt coats with the old Monarch Broadcasting patch, but they're still good, and so we still wear them, that we can loan out. But for indoor stuff, if you're a cold-blooded soul, and I will tell you the gymnasiums can be cold for volleyball and basketball, especially when we're in there setting up right after school. They take them down to about 56 in advance of packing those bodies and those athletes in there, and so it can be chilly and uncomfortable. We will place this initial order for shirts, and then if there is enough demand, looking probably around Thanksgiving time or maybe early November, I'll put out whether there's interest in placing another order for some of the longer sleeve stuff. So, what's it gonna cost you? I'm sorry, I wish I could do it all for free. You have to get through the class, an SD card. I can sell you one. We get them through a government purchasing agent. I can sell you a 32 gig SD card for $10. You can shop the back to school sales. Most of the time, the cheapest you're going to see is an $8 or $9 16 gig. This is a really good deal, and these are really reliable SD cards. I use them. Our kids have used them a long time. We've only had, out of our initial order of 100, we only had 2 or 3 go bad, which is a pretty great fail percentage. If you are going to go purchase your own, here's your minimum requirement. It needs to be a class 10, and it needs to be 16 gigs. You are welcome to do your own. If you buy one from us, we'll put that label on it for your kiddo. I warn you, youth, they're small and they like to get lost. Treat it like the expensive thing that it is, and especially after you've got footage for a project on it, treat it like it's your grade because it contains the contents for your grade. You've got to love on that card and keep it. Producers, how many of you have had the same one the whole time? Bravo! Producers, how many of you have learned a hard lesson? More than once. Yep. And you got to buy a uniform shirt. So what's your maximum or your minimum outlay going to be? $10 for an SD card from me and $13 for a short sleeve shirt. $23. Oh, and your activity card. If you are on free and reduced lunch, talk to me. We can get some support from the school, and they will waive the activity card fee for you as well. So you'll talk to Mr. Hoke about that next week after, too soon. Okay, a long sleeve t-shirt will be $16. These are rock bottom prices. There's no profit here. We're not trying to pad our account. We'll hit you up for donations later. A crew neck sweatshirt is going to be $25. A hoodie will be $30. And then our new items this year, we can get a quarter zip. It'll be screen printed. for $30. And then really nice Nike jackets with an embroidered logo for $45, especially if y'all are young. You got a freshman or a sophomore. We're not changing this. That was another requirement. This, what we pick, is how it's going to look. So you buy it, you take good care of it. You don't eat spaghetti and barbecue in it a whole lot. You don't, wash it excessively, but wash it enough, please. It can be a really nice thing. We have back-to-back streams fairly regularly. So if you feel like your student is a goer and they're going to want to sign up for a lot of stuff, 2 t-shirts is not a terrible idea. Because I have to be at all the streams, I have 6. Because sometimes there are 6 streams in a week or 6 events in a week, and I'm not home to do laundry. And my beloved husband gets a little sick of me going, did you wash my pants and shirt last night? All right, so what are we? Is there PLCS Media Academy? There are 4 different classes offered over 3 years. Doesn't make sense. Well, it does because you take 2 classes in the first year. Those of you who are freshmen, many of you may be signed up for Media Studies 1 and a PE class. What that does is that means you're only going to get 3 years of Media Academy because you can't take Media Studies 2 until the spring semester of your sophomore year. So what several of these folks did, about half at least or more, take the summer school PE. In 13 days, you get the entire semester of PE credit. And some of these folks did that every year just because it's nice to get it out of the way. What's it cost you? Oh, well, there you go.
3 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah, for 13 days. Yeah, and it's not the same rigor of an in-semester PE class, and you're not going to class sweaty after PE. So lots of band students and Media Academy students end up doing that summer thing. And there is still time to get your schedule changed if you decide you want to do that. However, I would recommend getting that done before school and not waiting to try and do it at the semester because we are full up and schedules are very, very tight around here. And so if your class schedule would change, if you had Media Studies 1 hour and something else in a half semester opposite it, and things will have to move in your schedule, that's going to take some work for them. Okay, the 4 classes at freshman level or freshman and sophomore level: Media Studies 1, Media Studies 2, then Media Production 1 at your sophomore or junior level, and then Media Production 2 as a junior and or senior. And yes, you take the same, you register for the same class your second year, but they code it differently so it will show as a different class on your transcript. It'll show as your capstone project. Like Chewy told you, he's doing the Papillion 150 documentaries. This year is his capstone. Last year, one of our seniors did a short film as her capstone, as their capstone, and another one wrote our video board producer manual as his capstone. What do? We live stream athletics and events. You are going to want to share the plv.media web address with friends and family, grandmas and grandpas, aunts and uncles, friends worldwide, because your student can get to the live stream and say, ooh, first half, I'm on the north half of the field, so anytime you see a touchdown, that's my camera. It can be just as much fun sitting at home watching the live stream and rooting for your camera operator as anything. Okay. We also have a YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and search for PLV Media, it'll bring up our channel, and you can look at things that we've done almost clear back to the beginning. We create the content for the video boards in both high schools' gyms and at the stadium, and we operate those. We also play the music at the stadium. That's a semi-new thing that evolved over the course of the year last year because when we play ads, we need to cut the music, and it was difficult to communicate 2 doors down in the press box. So that ended up in our lives too. We do lots of special projects for outside groups. We do news packages to be able to compete in the state journalism video competitions. We do our own graphic design. We do promotional and pump-up videos for teams, groups, organizations. We do a senior video for PLHS that chronicles the entire year and plays at graduation safe, as well as a video that goes from graduation through about halfway through grad safe and then plays after the year-long video. So we get, a small group of us get to spend the night after having spent a 12-hour day down at Baxter Arena streaming both high schools' graduations. I can't wait until they add a third one. What does a live stream look like? First of all, we have to schedule the live streams. We have to decide what are we live streaming. I have a rough schedule of the fall, but I haven't been able to get the production board together yet to say, hey, is this looking okay? Because we have to look at the volleyball, golf, cross country, softball, football, is that it? Tennis, schedules for 2 high schools and say, okay, what are we live streaming? What games are priority? Rivalry games are priority. When Maroon plays blue, we're there for sure. And when can we send folks to go get footage of those other sports so that we can use it to generate content for the video boards? Then we have to plan. Okay, what equipment are we taking? How are we getting there? What time do we need to leave? Are we eating together or are we bringing food in? We have to do the travel, which involves packing, loading, unpacking. Then we set it up. We test it. Then we actually stream the event. And then we have to do all of that, minus the planning, in reverse. What we do takes time. So one of your first questions, parentals, is going to be, when will Jimmy or Susie be home? My answer is, I'm neither playing nor reffing the game, and I have 0 control over that. The best I can estimate is we should be home from a football game, if there are no injuries, and no lightning delays, and no overtime, between 10:30 and 11. And if any one, or on one horrific game, any combination of those happens, I'll have them call you while we're on the way home. And that is really sad when one of those combinations of things happens on a Thursday night game, and we have 2 Thursday night football games this year. We had a neck injury a couple of years ago, followed by a lightning delay in the second half. And it was almost 2 in the morning before we got back. We were tired pups. I sent an email out to parents saying, talk to your kid. Maybe think about excusing them for a couple of hours in the morning. It's been a long night and a stressful night. Because one of the things that we have to figure out what to do is, what do we put on air while that kid is laying there and the paramedics are checking him out? And the commentators have to figure out what to talk about, because Great Aunt Susie could be watching in Wichita, and we don't want her watching her grandnephew's feet not moving. So we got to hope the cheerleaders are doing something, or some baby is cute somewhere. So what we do is real world stuff. And you're not going to get the cool ESPN replays of the slow-mo injuries out of us. It's not how we roll. That was a production board decision from years ago. All right, what are the differences between what we live stream? For football, we run a crew of about 17 if we're fully loaded. That is the more complex and longish stream. We leave here immediately after school, or as close as we can get loaded and get down there. It's a 7-8 hour investment of time. It's outdoors. It's hot. It's real hot in the production box. Or it's real cold and real windy. So if Mama Hoax sends a message out to you, producers, and says, hey guys, forecast says it's going to be windy and cold, what should you pack? Shorts and a t-shirt, yeah. Tank tops, sunscreen, gloves, hat, jacket. I will absolutely be giving you nothing but a load of crap if you show up in shorts and a t-shirt, and then I will be giving you my gloves and my hat and my scarf and my coat, and they wonder why I'm sick. Volleyball, indoors, thank heavens. Smallish crew, 7 to 8, and it's relatively short. We do not go down right after school. Usually there's some time. Kids will come down to the studio and sit and do some homework, kibitz, maybe run out to grab some food together, and then they'll come back, set up during the JV matches, and then we'll stream the varsity. Anytime we do it not at this school, it's longer. It takes us a minimum of 2 hours to set up and check, and so that means if we're driving over to PAP South, add another 45 to an hour for that for loading, unloading, and then set up. Softball, medium-sized crew of 10 to 11, can be longish because we go right after school because we need to be set up before the JV team starts playing so that we're not moving around in front of the parents who are trying to watch the game. We're not more important than that. So then we get set up and we chill, we do some homework, we play some games, and then we stream the varsity game. Basketball, medium-sized crew, can be longish. Again, we set up after school. The girls' game starts at 5:30. Figure we're effectively out of school at 3:30, right? How long did I say it takes us to set up and check? You're gonna feel some stress coming back at you from your student on those basketball nights because there is stress. There can be nothing that goes wrong. There can't be problems. Somebody can no-show. We had to cancel 2 streams last year for we were running short crews because students didn't sign up, and then somebody no-showed. We canceled one the night of and one the day of. 3? Oh, yep. Okay, wrestling, nice small crew, 6 to 8. Wrestling is a hard one. When you ask me when are you going to be done, I don't know, because if they all make weight, we could be there forever. And if half of them just had Thanksgiving leftovers and don't make weight, hey, we've been home from a wrestling match in 2.5 hours. The match has lasted less time than it took us to set up and tear down. It just depends. Wrestling is a really hard one to predict. Soccer, smallest crew. We only run 2 cameras. It's outdoors, though, if you're on the cameras. And soccer, how many of you have soccer players or have had soccer? Soccer parents are nuts. They will sit there in the sleet. I have seen soccer parents hold up clear plastic to try and keep the sleet from piercing their faces while they're watching the kids play. That is not enjoyable. So for a game like that, we run 1 camera outdoors that's downwind. If it is raining and the wind is blowing at all, we almost always cancel the stream. We don't have raincoats for our equipment, and it's too expensive to try and protect. If the forecast is for rain to come in at 8 o'clock, I'm going to call some of my meteorologist friends and I'm going to say, tell me, how sure are we? And if they're anywhere over 60%, we're going to cancel. It's not worth it on the equipment or the kids who are giving of their time to drag it all out there and then have to hustle and tear it down and get it loaded up. It's just not worth it, okay? So sometimes there are game day decisions like that. Basketball season, ice storm predicted, and they're absolutely sure we're canceled. I'm not putting anybody's life at risk to stream an athletic event. I will take that flack from the parents who were out of town and wanted to see it. Tough luck. My kids are more important than you watching your kid. If it was that important, stay home. And I'm serious. Track. This is our largest crew. For the first time last year, we streamed track meets. Like kind of NBC style. It took months of planning. We pulled it off. It takes a lot of people. We're producing videos live during the track event that go up on the video board, and then we load to YouTube. We don't do it with commentary. No, they just got to watch, and then we show the results that are on the video board from the live timing as well. That is the longest. For the Titans, it's a 3/4 of the day kind of thing. Your student will be here probably first, second, and maybe third hour, and then they're out. For the Monarchs, in the past, they've run both track meets in the same day, and so we're meeting here at 6. Yeah, that's a.m. And heading out, and what do we get back? 10? 9?
11, 10.
Yeah, by that time I lose the ability to tell time. When I'm talking about pulling your student out of school, one of the things that I expect of every Media Academy student, C's or more. C's or more, and I am checking your grades. The guidance office pulls a report for me every week, and I'm looking, and I'll be talking to you. So, how are things going in algebra? Why are you missing 6 assignments? How can I help with that? You may be spending some extra time with me working on that. I need to know that I can count on your student to be there for the rest of the team when we need them. And I need to know that they can balance the requirements on their time. There's hardly anybody in here, there are some in here, who have never been talked to. But is it painful when I talk to you? Good. Good. And folks, I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings when I say good, because I have a very strong sense of responsibility for these kids. I'm asking them to give a lot of their time for this program. They don't have a lot of homework in class. They're not going to see them sitting at home for 2 hours working on a media studies assignment. Their homework comes in 6-hour chunks after school on the nights we stream. But what that means is they need to be forecasting ahead. I have a test the day after that. Maybe I shouldn't wait until the night before to study. And we'll talk a lot about that and personal responsibility and organization and that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be hard on your student. I'm not going to be mean, but I'm going to be hard. A few years ago, I had a parent call me after the first semester final grade went in. And the conversation went something like this. She said, "But he tried so hard." And I said, yes, he did try hard. That's why I'm giving him an opportunity to come in and make some edits based on the final feedback I gave him, because he can do a lot better than he did. But he tried so hard, he's just a freshman, you're breaking his spirit. And I said, I need him to understand that good enough is not good enough. And that if I let him get by with it, she wanted an A. There was audio missing for 27 seconds of the minute and 30-second project. There were black frames for 5 to 7 seconds throughout. There were times when the audio didn't match the video, a la Japanese dubbed samurai movie. Okay. She wanted an A because I was crushing his spirit. He came in, worked 2 hours, and fixed 85% of those problems. And I said, how do you feel about it? And he said, I'm proud of it now. That's what I want. I will tell your student when I know they can do more. It's not about how long you work. It's about how effectively you work. Are you asking for help when it's clear that you need it? Are you giving up when it gets hard or you don't know what to do next? You got to ask. I'm there. These folks are there. In some classes, one of them will be there to help in class because there's only one of me and there's going to be a lot of you and a lot of questions. A lot of questions. Okay? So, if you are not okay with someone telling your student that they are not the most magical snowflake I've ever seen in my classroom, the guidance office has drop slips and schedule changes. But, producers, do I love you?
Sometimes.
All right. We also do graduation and Papillion Days. We streamed the Papillion Days for the first time ever this year. And I want to share with you, some of these folks have already heard this letter. We got a letter from Mayor Black. Dear PLV Media, I just wanted to extend a big thank you for the great work you did on your Papillion Days Parade broadcast. The expertise you've shown in your production, editing, and scripting made this video a pleasure to watch. It's especially exciting to know this video was made by talented local students who participate in Papillion Life Daily. The additional videos you created are exceptional because you have downtime at the beginning of the parade. You got to start when the parade starts, but the parade doesn't get to you. So we cooked up how many videos? 4 videos. Some were done ahead of time and some were done from the kiddie parade that day and the carnival the night before. Okay. Again, real world experiences, fast turnaround, quality work. The 2019 This is Papillion 150 Butterfly Effect Project, and the Papillion Days Carnival Highlights 2019 are well-crafted videos, and as a member of the community, I was thrilled with the final product and the production skills you are perfecting. Thank you for your hard work and dedication to the city of Papillion. If you've seen business letters, usually a letter from a mayor or an executive is going to have 4 little initials down here where some secretary typed up what was dictated. Mayor Black sat down and wrote this himself. So I am so proud
That's going on the wall.
of these folks. Actually, it's downtown being laminated right now to go on the wall, yes. So this is Mrs. Laura Schwartz, the director of the Papillion Community Foundation, who actually came to us. They run Papillion Days, the Community Foundation does. She came to us and said, hey, Cox dropped the broadcast of the parade a few years ago. What do you guys think? And I said, well, I don't know. Let me talk to the producers. And somebody also named Schwartz stepped up and said, yeah, I'll produce that. And we did it.
They did. And I think I'm, what, a 7-year PLV media mom?
You are indeed.
Because I had an older one and now 4 years with this one. So, and when she says that she will love your child like her own, she truly, yeah, I mean, that's very true. She treats them like she's their second mom. So, which is awesome. But we would like to present the Papillion Community Foundation with a $500 grant for PLV Media. Like she said, the equipment is very expensive and sometimes it breaks. We just want to thank you guys, all the hard work that you did. I mean, these kids came down, they set up the whole thing, tested it a week prior to Papillion Days to make sure that it worked when Papillion Days kicked off. So that's huge. But this, we'd like to present you with this $500 check, and here's the real check. So yeah,
Thank you.
and also, Abigail, and who else was down there?
Yeah.
Okay. The kids also did, when we were painting the first butterfly effect butterfly for the Papillion 150, they also came down and did a little documentary that kind of aired for Papillion Days Parade. So we have some hats for the kids. This is the actual Papillion 150 butterfly effect first butterfly.
Thank you.
There's a note here, so we
Okay.
want you guys to have
Thank you.
those.
Let's not forget to get that, and our animator here. Yeah, we'll get them. Thank you very much, Mrs. Schwartz. That $500 is already spoken for. We use radios to communicate, and Nokia bought Motorola, or Motorola bought Nokia, and they discontinued our model of radio, and so we can't get new batteries, and they're 6 years old, and so we need $2,000 to buy 4 new radios. So there's 1 new radio for us this fall. So, yay. Okay. Live stream requirements. What is the minimum you got to do to be able to pass the class? First semester, 6. Second semester, 8. You can be done before football season is if you sign up fast. How many streams are there in a semester? What did we estimate, guys?
12 to 14.
No, almost 20. Yeah. There's more in the fall semester than there are in the spring semester. So you look at that and you say, well, clearly Hoke was drunk while she was creating this. No. What happens is people don't continue to the second semester. So what we do is we take the total number of crew that we think we'll need for all of the estimated live streams, and we divide by the number of people that we have. And then we take some off. So this is where we're at. By the way, the production folks have higher requirements than these. So you got that to look forward to. Okay, what do we have ongoing? Glamour shots. For every team all year long, we're going to take a little headshot and we're going to do a little video GIF for the coaches. The district invested in an online social media production kind of software, and we're going to help the coaches out by giving them nifty things to use to promote their players when they come in first in a race, or win their doubles tournament, or hit their first hole-in-one, or break 100 for the first time, whatever. So we've got that going on. And the reasoning behind that is, why should we only love the students who play under the LEDs at the stadium and in the gyms? All the athletes give of their time, and it's important to them, and so their coaches need the opportunity to recognize them with the same quality as everybody else. We run the video boards. We have 2 documentaries going for the Papillion 150 celebration, a historical documentary, and then when I was presenting about that to the full committee, the Historical Society called me, the Papillion Historical Society called me and said, hey, how about documenting the year of also? Oh, and by the way, we were going to do a book, so would you have somebody who would want to take photographs and maybe help us typeset that? And I said, well, then why wouldn't we just build a Papillion 150 documentary website where we have the digital book and they can link to video clips from the documentary, and the historical chapter will link to click. And the goal is PBS quality, right, Mr. Producer?
Yes, indeed.
Which would then make the students eligible for student Emmys, if we can get PBS to bite it and air it. So. Oh, it's not done yet.
Yeah.
It's hardly even begun yet. This young man will be well into his freshman year of college before it's actually done, but he is leading the charge. We have already gotten the information from the Midlands Community Foundation on their Reflection Ball project, which is a video we do every year for their honorees, right around January, I think is when it is. We're making some nice money on that one, so that helps us out a lot. And then anytime the foundation, the school's foundation calls or the district calls, yes, sir, how long, how many, what, yes, okay, got it. There are some things we don't get to say no to. You can letter. You can get yourself a PL or a T for your work in Media Academy. You can get yourself a chevron if you've already lettered. It is a point system that is unrelated to your grade. If you work 7 live streams, that 7th live stream in the fall semester gets you points towards your letter. If you sign up to go get footage at an event, you're gonna, Dad loves golf and he's got Tuesday off, and that happens to be one of the days that the golf team's playing in a tournament, and he says, well, I'll come pick you up from 3rd hour and we'll go out and get some footage. Awesome. That's gonna get you some points towards your letter. Somebody will take you out to a cross-country meet and get some footage. Excellent. Tennis, all of those that we don't live stream, we still need footage, and all of the away football games, because our video board producer and our fall football producer have said we need to recap the previous week's game every week. And when they play away, that means somebody's got to go away. Volunteer time. Guys, inventory's a mess. I need some folks to come in and help clean that up. You come in, we'll log that time, you'll get points. Contracted projects. You say, somebody in the community came to me and they'd like XYZ done. Okay, I'm going to verify that. We're going to figure out how much time outside of class you'll put in on it, and we'll figure out how many points you can contract for towards your letter. That is not all done. It has to be approved by the ADs at both schools, so I will get that out to you and your students when it is all checked off on. And the production board will approve it before I even send it to them. And then that last one said organizational position fulfillment. That is how these guys are going to get a lot of their points. Who is our historian? Michael. Who's social media? Peyton. He's not here, and Wolf and Abby. So every role that a media production student takes, when they do that job, yes, they're getting graded for how they did the job that time. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into being a producer outside of at the event. They got to plan, they got to pack, they got to manage their crew, in advance, and so that's where they're getting their lettering points for. All right, what are our expectations? You got to be available. You heard the activities that these other folks are involved in. I am not saying you have to dedicate your entire life to this program, but you got to give something. You got to be available, okay? You have to be civil. There is no room for you to be catfighting and backbiting with each other and stirring up drama. We spend way too much time together to have that going on. And I will smack it down. You got to be coachable. If I have to tell you 5 times in a row you're doing it wrong and you refuse to change, we're going to have a talk about that. Okay? You got to be committed. If you're in, you're in. Right? You got to be daring. I've never done that, but I'll give it a try. You want to go stand on the sideline and film at a football game? I've never even watched a football game. We're going to have you spot then at first, and I need you to watch a football game by next week because I want to try you on the camera. Okay? You got to persevere. This is hard. I don't get it. That was really, I just got yelled at. The director was constantly telling me that, yeah, because you weren't giving them what they needed. Going to come back and try again next week, right? Yeah, you are. Because when you get it right, it feels so good. And it feels so awesome to go back and watch that stream and say, that was my shot. I got that touchdown. You got to be professional. No matter how bad it hurts when you drop that tripod on your foot, you cannot drop the F-bomb in front of all of the little grade school kids who ring around under our deck. It's so tempting, isn't it, Abby? You must be poised. When everything is burning around you, stay focused on what's going wrong and what you need to fix. And that is something that will be very hard for you in your first year. It's something that's still hard for you in your senior year sometimes. It's hard for me. You got to be on time. Guys, if we say we got to pull out of here by 3:45 and we're sitting out there in the parking lot at 4 o'clock waiting for you to pull in, you've pushed everything back and made it very difficult to be on time and produce something quality. All right, you got to be reliable. If you sign up, show up. If you sign up, don't be calling 2 days ahead and say, there's only so many times Grandma can die. And no, 3 years ago I had a student, one set of grandparents was divorced, so there were 3 grandmas. There were 5 grandmas who died. Not buying it. Okay? You got to be trustworthy. There are a lot of times when I have to say, okay, here's the keys, go back and get it. Because a producer did screw up and didn't get everything somewhere. That is a huge, huge act of faith on my part to turn over the keys to a student. You got to be willing. You got to be willing to try. You got to be willing to show up. You got to be willing to just be a part because we are a team. What do you do in Media Studies 1 and 2? This is important. You need to start watching the news right now, don't they? Yes. There'll be a quiz every Friday. First thing we'll do in class. As soon as school starts, you'll get your access to Blackboard. On that Blackboard, I have a page of recommended sites. I have a rotational schedule. So whether you're sitting out there going, Fox News all the way, fake news, or you're going, PBS is the only valid source of information, I watch them all. New York Times, Fox, MSNBC. I will not get out to the more fringe networks. I stay pretty mainstream. We will talk in class. It's one of the things that we talk about media bias and verification of information and stuff. I do my best to remain neutral and to cover all sides. However, part of our journalism curriculum is to get your student to ask questions and to question what they've been told and what they think they know and to go and look for the other side. It's mostly project-based learning. We do. You're not just going to sit and learn theory for the most part. Copyright is theory, First Amendment is theory. You're going to do cooperative work. If you are I'm the only one who can ever do it right, I challenge you to run a football live stream alone. We can't do what we do alone. So you gotta learn to work together. You gotta learn how to encourage the kid who wants to sit there and do nothing. Make them do something. That's part of your job too, okay? Because how are you gonna deal with that kid when they're on the crew at the live stream? Are you gonna go over and set their camera up for them? No, you won't have time. You've gotta get yours set up. You've gotta test it, okay? Deadlines are critical. Okay? We're going to have 22 kids in class, and if 2 people haven't finished their project, I got to go on to the next stuff, right? So then those 2 people are trying to finish their project, and they're missing the foundational instructions for the next one, and so then they're falling further behind. If your student is coming home saying, I'm not going to get done in time, I'm not going to get done in time, they can come in early. They can come in during their lunch. They can come in after school. They can come in on Saturday mornings. I run Saturday school. A good 2.5 hour block on Saturday morning where they can work and get ahead and get some real one-on-one attention if they're not getting enough in class, okay? There is no reason to not meet your deadlines. For athletes, it's a little harder because they've got the practice right after school. Let me know. Nick, I think 2 years ago, said, I need some extra time. And I said, all right. How early do you want to be here in the morning for the next 2 days? I set my alarm back and came in early. I am a night owl, not an early morning person, but we did it, right? Okay? Absences. Absences are a mess maker in this class because chances are most of you don't have the software at home. You maybe have a computer powerful enough to run the software if you want to buy the software, but getting the media home and then getting it back is an issue, right? So they got to be here to do what we do. Okay? So I'm not saying cancel the family cruise to the Caribbean in November. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying communicate and let your kid know they better be figuring out a way to work ahead or how to get caught up when they get back. Because this isn't something you can just, here's some worksheets. I can't worksheet this stuff. You got to know how to do it all. How do we communicate? We use the app called Band. It is a free app. Students, if you download Band, that is your invite code. It's good for 48 hours. Parents, you'll get the calendar of our live streams when you sign up on Band. I'll also put in there, hey, thinking about canceling tonight's stream. Let me know if your student's gonna need transpo. Some of you might think, wow, Jimmy's gonna be at the football game all night, date night. And so you've already got plans. You're going somewhere, you've got friends lined up. Now Jimmy needs to get home after school. We'll figure that out. We're here for each other, okay? So you just gotta let me know. We've gotta communicate. I would prefer that Jimmy let me know. I want these students to be advocates for themselves too. Okay? If you don't have a smartphone, we've got to figure out a way to communicate because the students need to know during the day when stuff is going down. Hey guys, just found out we can't have the van after school. We've got to figure something else out. Or, yeah, we're going to cancel. So those of you who were thinking that you wanted to do something else after school, wouldn't it be nice to know that during your 4th hour class instead of waiting until after 7th? Right? So we'll have to figure something out. There is the possibility that Band will go away, and it will not be my choice. The district does not like Band. I will be very upfront with you about that. I am probably violating some sort of district policy by using Band because it requires students' email addresses when they sign in, and there is a district policy against doing that for people who are under 18. However, there is not a solid mechanism for ease of mass communication through email. Nobody wants to read everybody's CCs to an email. They are talking about getting us the app Slack, which would be amazing. It would be unbelievable for us. It is what I tried to get for us when we first started as an academy. it costs. But the District Technology Academy needs it, and we may get to ride those coattails. When that happens, I'll communicate it to you via band, and then we'll have to quick make that transition. We'll probably operate in both worlds for a week until everybody's over there, and then I'll put in band, this is it, and you got to get Slack. It's also free for you. In the classroom, there are mail slots. Your student needs to check it every day. That's where they're going to get papers back. That's where they can store notes and scripts and stuff. When we're doing group stuff, they should be using the Office 365 shared documents. They should be storing the papers in their mail slot so that when Tommy is sick and Sally goes, well, I can't do anything because he has this script and I don't know what to do. Did you check Tommy's mail slot? Oh, no? Well, guess who's in trouble if it's not in Tommy's mail slot? Tommy. Tommy's going to be doing some independent work to make up for the fact that Sally lost a days of productivity because he took it home with him. So I'm providing that for you. I expect that it be used. I am colossally bad at asking for help. It's taken me a lot of years to get to the point where I am ready to say to you, I need your help to feed these kids on our long night streams. When we go to football, we are working to kick off most games. In the off chance that everything goes perfectly, we have half an hour to just sit and chill. Because we go live at 6:30 the minute the teams clear the field, the band starts. So what I need is a group of parents who will commit to order the food, pick up the food, deliver the food to us, including beverages, at the stadium at about 5:30 on game days. That doesn't have to be one parent every week, and you are not paying. The school's foundation has given us money to be able to feed the kids because we're running their pretty board that is getting them money. And so a portion of that comes back to feed the kids. We also now will have some money to feed on basketball varsity nights as well, because there's no time to leave on those for the most part as well. So in the band app, what I'll do after I get everybody a chance to sign up is I'm going to put out, hey, I'd like one parent to kind of be the coordinator. One parent who is the source of contact for me, who then deals it out to the parent volunteers. We have 2 Thursday streams, the rest are Friday. And heaven help us, our last 2 regular season games are a Thursday-Friday stand. So we're going to want some variety of food. And it's as easy as a sub sandwich, or call Chick-fil-A, and Mrs. Schwartz said they might donate some sandwiches for us, and then go pick up, on a hot game, pick up 2 cases of water from Sam's. For those, you got to give me the receipts and we'll get you reimbursed. I need your help because there's just no time for me to do that. And there'll be emails flying back and forth between us, because what we don't want to do is order a whole bunch of food and then have to cancel because of severe thunderstorms. That happened last year, and so what we did is we were able to cancel, and we paid, I think they only made us pay 25%, which was kind of nice. Another time, we got the food early and ate here and just sent everybody home and said, thanks for being willing to stream. We are not doing concessions. I have done concessions for 13, 14, I quit. I'm tired, my feet hurt, I can't do it anymore. So we're going to be down about $3,500 in revenue that we used to get out of doing all of the volleyball and basketball concessions. So it has been suggested that we ramp up our other fundraising things. I will never send chocolate wrapping paper, catalog of useless kitchen doodads, or popcorn home for your student to sell. We sell things that people will buy anyway. We'd just like them to buy them from us. We're going to try and do mums this fall. We'll do poinsettias in November, and Easter lily, tulip, daffodil kind of thing in the spring. So it's stuff that people will buy anyway if they're going to buy it, and why not buy it from us? So we're not going to make $3,500 out of that, but we'll make something to replace it. And the production board already voted to cut down one of our subscriptions too. We love everybody equally. If you start following our social media, we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram, and we have a Twitter. Please, we'd love to have you follow us, and you will see us liking and loving everything about the entire district, because we are the entire district. I am a Monarch alum, Monarch born, Monarch raised. I used to tease my niece and nephew who are Titan grads that wearing the Titan blue made my skin itch. I figured out once we became an academy and started taking kids from both schools that we are the district, and we are a lot of the public face of the district, and we have to love each other and love everybody and be equally proud of their achievements. And so it was an odd moment the other night. I was sitting and watching the American Legion teams from each high school, and they both qualified for state. And I'm hitting like, and I'm hitting like, and my husband was sitting next to me on the couch, and he said, "What are you're liking everything?" And I said, "Because everybody's being successful, and it's awesome." So you should not hear smack talking and down talking about the other school from your student in terms of PLV media. It's harder for our athletes, especially as we're approaching that game for the football players. But, and this is one thing for you to be aware of, if you're going to be at that football game on the 29th, on a Thursday, that board, when maroon plays blue, roots for everybody. That was a decision 2 years ago when we first went. We take a lot of flack for it because one team is home and one is visitor. But the reality of it is, whichever side of the field you're sitting on, that is everybody's field. It's both teams' home field, and it should feel like a home game for all of them, and they all need to be loved and celebrated, and so everybody's player video gets played. Touchdowns are celebrated on both sides of the ball. And, you know, I'll take all the heat in the world for it because that's what's fair to those athletes.
The academy seems very athletic focused. Is that by design, or is there any time that they do like show choir or band or a play?
Copyright. Copyright. Before I had my journalism endorsement, yes, we did. We cannot. We can get footage and use it in the senior video.
And I got as much as I could last year. Like I went to all of the fine art stuff because I know that we don't give them as much love as the athletics. So I was like, I made sure that I specifically got.
But we can't live stream a concert. It can take months to get rights to the songs, and there are two different kinds of rights that we need. If there are any band parents or cheer parents or dance parents out here, that's why we have to mute our live stream during halftime. Copyright. Those rights are exorbitantly expensive if they want to charge you for them, and we have no budget. We don't have a budget. I used to be a social studies teacher. This year is the first year I'm not teaching anything social studies, so at this point I don't even know who I ask for staples and Kleenex and markers. So I don't know what I'm floating on for that, other than my credit card and Office Depot.
What about the other pieces though, like the shout outs and the athlete, hero shots and stuff like that? Have you ever considered doing those for like the drama?
So this is the first year we're doing those glamour shots. And it's the first year we've got those new video boards, which forced that decision. We did a little math, just kind of estimating, and what was the number we came up with that we have 2 weeks to produce?
Plus, it was 300 or something.
Over 300, nearly 400 of those that we have to have done before the first football game. And actually, it's the Tuesday before that is when volleyball starts. So we have to film those, edit them, and get them exported and uploaded. The discussion was had. We had that discussion, right? And the decision was not this year. We got to figure it out. We need to get through that process. And then absolutely, because whether or not we want to get into the debate of is cheerleading or dance a sport, does show choir, everybody works hard at everything they do. The thing that was discussed is once we open that door, who else? Are we also doing forensics and debate and the Spanish club and where do we stop and where does it begin to crush everything else that we do? So the athletic focus, the classes are not really athletic focused. The live streams are because they're the ones who are doing something that people would want to watch, and that is a mechanism to teach the students live production, teamwork, problem solving, troubleshooting, advanced planning, all of those things that are life skills. Whether your student sitting here or sitting wherever they are is going to go on and do this doesn't matter to me. I want them to learn not necessarily the technical aspects of pixel ratios. I want them to learn how to be a teammate, how to solve a problem, how to keep their cool, how to do all of those life skills that so many of our other classes don't really offer as a if you're learning American history, how much teamwork is there in that? How much problem solving is there in that? And it's a different kind of problem solving than you get in math. And we do some TV, we do some movie, we do other stuff. So it's not all athletic. That's just our vehicle for learning that part of our curriculum. Yeah, and journalism, the journalistic aspect of it, we do cover everything. I didn't used to be the absent-minded professor, I promise. I used to actually remember things and be kind of smart. But 3.5 years ago, I took a fall out by the tennis courts, and it was my second concussion past the age of 40, and you just never really come all the way back from that. So some of the stuff that I do, like I know that there was something else I needed to say. It was the scrimmage. Once I thought of it, I'm going to tell it to somebody else so that it's also in their brain. Sometimes we'll be walking somewhere and I'll say, okay, help me remember, because I can't always stop and put it in my app in my phone that helps me with that stuff. So
Granola bars.
I do need to restock the granola bars, yes. We have a refrigerator and some storage space adjacent to our room because we spend a lot of time up here. You are welcome to store stuff in there. It is honor system, but I will tell you, there are other people who also have access to that room, and I can't post an armed guard 24/7. So at your own risk, you can also keep that stuff in your locker. But by all means, if you are planning on eating lunch and then working for 10, 15 minutes, we've got a fridge and a microwave that you can keep stuff in. I will not clean the microwave. I am not your mother in that respect. There are reasons I didn't have kids. 15th and 16th, you're going to get this information in the band by August 1st. It'll be by alpha. So first alpha group, and I have to wait until then because I don't have a final class list. So I don't know where to divide the alphabet. You need to be at that training if you can be students. It is critically important. 22nd, 23rd, thank you, yes. Yes, everything got pushed back a week this year. 22nd, 23rd, Thursday, Friday. One scrimmage and the other. Parents, at about 8 o'clock, if it is your student's scrimmage that night, come upstairs in the press box and see where we spend our time. This is your one invitation to come up there. I will love you like cousins, maybe brothers and sisters, but I do not want you up there during the regular season. What we do is hard, and it requires concentration and focus. We've got the commentators going, we've got the control people going, the superintendent has guests who are roaming the halls. It's too tight, it's too crowded, and what we do requires too much focus. So you can't come up and see it then, and your kid isn't going to want you there after the game because they want to get torn down and get home so they can go do their fun stuff. Okay? So scrimmage nights are your night to come and see what our live setup for football looks like. During basketball, you can just peek under the bleachers where we live and see it there, but it's different at football. So that's your night to come up and kind of get a little tour and see the toys they get to play with and what they'll get to play with in future years too.